Leo, have you ever looked back at your day and thought, what did I actually do today?
You mean, like, nothing bad happened? No big mistakes? But nothing really moved forward either.
Exactly. No dramatic failure. Just another day gone.
That sounds like wasting your life with no sound.
Yes, it doesn't come with a loud crash. It comes from small habits repeated every single day.
It's like one more click,
One more scroll.
one more later.
And suddenly, tomorrow becomes a habit.
Not gonna lie, but everyone's done that.
Well, the most dangerous part isn't failure.
Then what is it?
It's the feeling that you're waiting for the right time. Waiting until you're less busy to study English. Waiting until you feel confident enough to start. Waiting until you're not tired to change.
Yep. Yet the truth is, we're not actually waiting. We're procrastinating.
Exactly. Waiting without action is like sitting at a train station, watching the board update again and again, but never buying a ticket.
Yep. You feel ready. You feel close. And that's the illusion. No ticket, no train.
And while you're sitting there, time keeps moving. It never waits.
So today, we're breaking down this waiting trap, why it tricks you into thinking you're making progress, and how to finally leave that station.
Love this topic, Leo.
And don't worry if you can't understand everything in this episode. Just stay with us until the end.
We've prepared a PDS and a Word journey guide to help you reflect on your habits, redesign your actions, and finally step onto your train.
So, what are we waiting for?
Let's begin.
Before we talk about big goals or big failures, let's start with something much smaller.
Not the dramatic mistakes, not the life-changing decisions. Just 5 more minutes.
Really, Gwen? Just 5 more minutes? That doesn't sound much.
Exactly. And it doesn't feel dangerous, right? One more scroll, one more video, one small task pushed to later.
Yeah, none of that feels like ruining your life.
And that's the trap of it's comfortable.
Well, it does make sense to me. I mean, we all want everything to feel easy. How could it even be a trap?
Oh, Leo, it's because small comfort now always feels better than long-term progress later.
I see what's happening. Everything feels easy, so we tell ourselves, relax. You deserve a break. Start tomorrow.
And tomorrow looks exactly like today.
Yep. Individually, those moments look harmless, but together they create something bigger.
Sounds scary. So what's that bigger thing?
It's not some big collapse. It's quieter than that. A slow drift.
That sounds deep.
Not crashing, not burning out, just slowly drifting away from the person you said you wanted to become.
So you're not failing, you're just drifting.
Exactly. And drifting is dangerous.
Because a slow drift doesn't feel like danger. It feels familiar. It feels safe. And that's why you don't fight it.
So drifting doesn't always look like laziness.
No. Sometimes it looks like effort. It looks like planning, researching, getting ready.
Wait, that sounds confusing. How can drifting look like we're actually putting in effort?
Drifting rarely looks like doing nothing. It often looks responsible, strategic, thoughtful. You feel busy. You feel productive.
So busyness isn't the same as movement.
That's right. And when activity replaces action, you end up trapped in the illusion of progress.
That sounds a little too real.
Yep, sounds just like your old buddy Daniel.
Oh yeah, Daniel. Always got a plan and a bunch of study stuff ready. But honestly, that sounds more organized than me.
Right? He looks so serious. Do you still remember how you met him 6 months ago?
Well, I expected him to be speaking English with me, but it turned out he was still buried in all that study stuff.
You see what I mean. He wasn't lazy, he just kept preparing, but never really started. No real conversations, no mistakes, no uncomfortable moments.
So he felt busy, but wasn't actually moving.
Exactly. He was getting ready to swim, but never jumping in.
Because jumping in is scary.
And that's the problem. Planning feels like progress, but eventually a perfect schedule just turns into a hiding spot.
And it feels safe, maybe too safe.
Well, when repeated long enough, that spot becomes a cage you don't even try to escape.
A cage? Come on. How can a cozy plan become a cage?
Tell me why not? At first, it feels safe, warm, inviting. You think, I'm prepared, I'm organized.
Yeah, that sounds comfortable.
Exactly, cozy even. But the danger is subtle. Slowly, the windows close, the light fades, the air feels heavier.
Whoa, so it's like a room that slowly shrinks around you?
Yes, comfort that lasts too long becomes chains you don't even notice. And the worst part? You don't even realize you're trapped.
So, we're stuck in that cage, still holding on to our dreams and expectations that we will do something someday.
Yes, and that's the tricky part. Dreams are like fruit sitting on a cable. Bright, ripe, giving off a sweet, tempting aroma.
Ah, so we just keep smelling it, enjoying the scent, but not actually eating it.
Exactly. Every day, we admire it from afar. We plan, we imagine, we savor the idea. But we never take action to peel it, to taste it, to enjoy it fully.
And the longer we wait,
The more it quietly rots, slowly, almost without noticing. That sweet aroma fades, the colors dull, the fruit starts to decay.
wow, so our dreams don't die because of failure. They die because we get stuck in comfort, just smelling them every day instead of taking a bite.
Exactly. The danger isn't dramatic failure. It's the slow drift. Day by day, they quietly eat away at the dreams we thought we'd reach.
Then the big question is, how do we stop drifting? How do we actually reach for that fruit?
We need to decide our own purpose. It doesn't have to be big or ambitious. It just needs to be clear, even if it's small.
That's cool. Just small and clear. Got it.
If you only breathe in the sweet smell of the fruit, you can only dream about its taste. But when you cook it, you turn that dream into something real.
Oh, so I need to know what I want to do with it. Like, am I going to make ice cream, a smoothie, or bake a cake?
Exactly. Only then can you really start doing something.
That sounds a lot like learning English. If you just say, I want to speak English very well, that's too vague. But if you say, I'll speak English to myself for 5 minutes a day, your goal becomes clear and doable.
That's true. So, Leo, what's your clear goal?
I want to broaden my knowledge, so I'll read for 10 minutes a day. Simple and clear.
That's really helpful. What about you guys? Have you found your goal?
And what are you going to do about it?
Drop it in the comments. We'd love to hear.
But wait, let's slow down for a second. Because having a clear goal is powerful, yes, but it's still not enough.
Exactly. A goal tells you where you want to go, yet it doesn't tell you what to do today.
And that's where many people get stuck. They say, I want to speak English fluently. Great, but then what?
Then they open a notebook and write 10 tasks. Grammar, vocabulary, listening, reading, speaking, pronunciation, idioms. A long to-do list, and it feels amazing, right?
You feel productive already because your brain loves that feeling of being busy. It loves ticking boxes. But let me ask you something. If today you could only complete 2 important things, just 2, what would they be?
Because every time you say yes to one task, you're saying no to another. That's the opportunity cost.
Exactly. When you spend 1 hour scrolling, that hour can't be used for practice.
When you choose 10 small, easy tasks, you might be giving up one big, meaningful step.
Time is limited. Energy is limited. Focus is limited. So choosing is not optional. It's necessary.
If you say you want to improve your English speaking, but you're just watching random videos and calling it practice,
Then the opportunity cost is actual speaking practice. You chose preparation over action.
we often choose small, easy tasks because they feel safe. They give us quick wins. We can tick them off and feel productive.
But being busy is just a feeling. Progress is a result.
Real progress usually comes from fewer tasks, but deeper focus.
So instead of doing everything, ask yourself, what actually deserves my time today? It helps you separate what feels productive from what truly moves you forward.
If your goal is speaking English, maybe today your two priorities are pronunciation and shadowing. Nothing else.
And if you still have free time, you can relax with an English movie or a song. Think of it as a bonus reward.
But first, protect those two tasks. Do them well. Then let the rest wait.
Because clarity and focus will always beat a long to-do list. Gwen, you know what? I actually tried that before. I picked two important tasks for myself, practicing listening and reading news in French.
That sounds great.
Yeah, so I decided to do them every night before bed. I was very disciplined, very serious.
You do them before bed? How were the results?
I felt exhausted. After a full day of work, my brain was already tired. After 1 week, even though I tried to focus, but I just felt frustrated and sleepy.
Leo, your brain isn't a machine. It's not supposed to work like a robot all day.
I thought if something's important, the time doesn't matter. Morning, night, it's all the same, right?
Not really. Think about it this way. Your energy has a rhythm. In the morning, it rises. In the afternoon, it slowly drops. At night, it asks for rest.
So studying at night wasn't wrong. It was just the wrong timing for deep work.
Exactly. Night can be for light review, relaxing with an English movie, or listening to music. But your most important tasks, they deserve your best energy.
That makes sense. I was trying to work like a machine instead of working with my natural rhythm.
Right. It's not about working harder, it's about working smarter.
So if I want real progress, I should do it in the morning.
And let the lighter activities come later.
Whoa, I thought I lacked discipline, but actually I just lacked timing.
It does. But even if you choose the right time, there's still one big enemy.
Let me guess. Distraction.
Exactly. You can wake up early, sit at your desk with full energy, and then one notification ruins everything.
That's true. Sometimes I don't lack motivation, I just lack focus.
And focus isn't only about willpower, it's about environment.
What do you mean?
Think about this. If your phone is next to you, notifications on, social media open, you're basically putting candy in front of a child and saying, "Don't touch it."
That's torture.
Exactly. Discipline is not about being strong all the time. Discipline is about designing your environment wisely.
So instead of fighting distraction, remove it first.
Yes, turn off notifications, put your phone in another room, use something like the Pomodoro technique. 25 minutes of deep focus, then a short break.
That sounds easier than trying to be strong for 2 straight hours.
Because willpower is limited, environment is powerful.
So it's not about becoming a stronger person. It's about becoming a smarter designer of your own space.
A fish doesn't try to be disciplined to swim. It swims because water supports it.
Nice. I love that quote.
If you want focus, build an environment that supports focus.
That actually sounds simple.
So, let me ask you, what are you going to change in your environment today?
For me, I think I'll start small. Instead of scrolling before bed, I'll put a book on my pillow.
On your pillow?
Yeah. So when I go to bed, the book is already there. If I want to lie down, I have to pick it up first.
That's smart. You're making reading easier and scrolling harder.
Exactly. And in the morning, I might leave my phone outside my room for the first 30 minutes.
I like that. Small changes, big impact.
Because the easier the good habit is, the more likely I'll do it.
So now it's your turn. What will you change in your environment? Will you turn off notifications, put your phone in another room, prepare your notebook on your desk tonight? Or you have another idea?
Tell us in the comments, what's one small change you're making today?
Remember, discipline isn't about forcing yourself. It's about setting yourself up to win.
Winning from the smallest moves.
Exactly. Do you even know where they actually come from?
From what we do, obviously.
Nope. They're born from how you use your time minute by minute. What you do is the result. How you spend your time is the decision.
Oh, I get it.
Imagine this. Your future self has a price tag.
A price tag?
Yeah,
Fluent English, confidence, discipline.
none of it is free.
So how much does it cost?
Let's say 100 hours of reading, 200 hours of speaking practice, maybe more.
That seems too much.
Exactly. So you panic. You think you need huge blocks of time, 3 hours, 5 hours, a perfect schedule.
Well, don't you?
Not necessarily. While you're obsessing over earning big bills, you ignore the loose coins.
How can I even ignore them?
You guess? 5 minutes waiting in line, 10 minutes before bed, 20 minutes scrolling for no reason. Stack them up and you already have an hour.
So you're saying I've been wasting time?
Not wasting, just spending it unconsciously.
Okay, so what should I do? Study every second?
No, that's the mistake. Don't turn every minute into pressure.
Then what?
Use the small moments lightly. Review a few flashcards, play a quick English game, listen to a short clip.
So it doesn't have to feel like studying.
Exactly. It's not about forcing yourself. It's about choosing better defaults.
5 minutes at a time?
5 relaxed minutes repeated daily. That's how you quietly build the hours.
So where do I start?
Start now. Not with an hour, not with a perfect plan. Just a few minutes to join our word journey.
Great! I'm so ready for that. How about you, my friends? Don't skip this part. It might help you more than you think.
All right, let's start with the first word, avoidance. Avoidance means trying to escape or delay something because it feels uncomfortable. For example, scrolling on social media instead of practicing speaking is a form of avoidance.
Perfect example.
The second word we want to mention is slow drift. Slow drift means gradually moving away from your goal without realizing it. For instance, if you keep skipping practice, you'll experience slow drift and lose progress over time.
Amazing.
Another important phrase is illusion of progress.
That sounds scary. What does it mean?
It means feeling productive without actually making real progress. A perfect example is spending 2 hours organizing your notes but never practicing speaking.
Exactly. It feels productive, but it doesn't move you forward.
Last but not least, we have opportunity cost. You use this phrase when you talk about what you give up when you choose something else.
Example, every choice has an opportunity cost, even choosing comfort over growth.
Exactly. Every choice has a hidden price.
Well, is that all, Gwen?
Quality over quantity, Leo. You don't need many words, you just need words you can actually use.
Awesome. So now let's move to what we want to share at the end of this episode. Gwen, you know what I've realized today?
What?
Life isn't destroyed by one big mistake. It's slowly worn down by the small choices we ignore.
Exactly. The 5 more minutes. The I'll do it tomorrow.
That's why we should pay attention to the tiny gaps in our day.
And the quiet moments where time slips away.
And maybe don't wait until you feel ready.
Yes. Start even if it's messy. Start even if it's small. And then do it again tomorrow.
So we don't need a revolution.
No. You don't need to change your whole life overnight. You just need one small decision repeated long enough.
If this episode gave you even one small insight or made you pause for a second and reflect, then we're really glad you stayed into the end.
And if you feel this podcast is helping you grow even just a little bit each week, please like this video.
It really helps us continue creating more meaningful conversations like this.
Thank you for spending your time with us today.
We don't take that lightly. I'm Leo.
And I'm Gwen.
We'll see you in the next episode.